She was already shouting when I stepped outside with my coffee. "This is private property. You two can't be here." I looked at Marcus, then back at her. He raised an eyebrow like, "Who the hell is this lady?" I didn't say anything, yet just took a sip and watched her stomp across the gravel like she owned every inch of it. Clipboard in one hand, phone in the other. She looked ready to bite someone's head off. "You're trespassing," she barked, pointing her phone at us like it was a badge. "You and your little buddy need to leave before I call the authorities." Marcus chuckled, but I stayed quiet. This wasn't the first time. Not with her. Not on this land. "I live here," I said calmly, "and he's my guest." "Oh, I don't think so," she snapped. "I run the HOA out here, and we don't allow strangers loitering around cabins, especially not him." She looked Marcus up and down like he was dirt. That's when things started burning inside me. I stepped forward just enough for her to flinch. "You gonna check IDs now?" I asked. "Or are you just profiling today?" She didn't like that. She turned sharply, phone to her ear. "I'm calling 911 right now. There's 2 men, yes? They're refusing to leave. I think they're armed." I blinked. "Did she just say armed?" Marcus muttered. "She did," I said. He shook his head, laughing under his breath. "She's about to make a mistake." She stayed on the call, pacing back and forth like a security guard outside a mall. 10 minutes later, we heard the sirens. 2 sheriff cruisers rolled up fast gravel, kicking up tires, screeching slightly as they stopped. I didn't move, either. Did Marcus the officer stepped out, hands resting near their holsters? "You the property owner?" one asked. I nodded slowly. "Want to see my ID or my badge first?" The deputy paused. "Badge?" I pulled out my wallet and held it open. His partner walked over to look and his whole face changed. Karen didn't see that part. She was too busy pointing at Marcus. "That's him. That's the guy I was telling you about. He was standing near the trees, watching people walk by like a predator or something." The deputy raised a hand. "Ma, you need to step back." "What?" "No." I stepped back now. "What?" Marcus leaned toward me and whispered, "You sure she read your file?" I smirked. "Nope. But she's about to wish she had." One of the deputies walked over to Karen, his tone suddenly sharp. "Did you say these men were armed?" "Yes," she shouted, still flustered. The tall one had something under his shirt, looked like a weapon. I pulled up his hoodie just slightly, revealing a granola bar. He took a bite. "Deadpan, ma'am," the deputy said. "This man is a decorated U.S. Marshal, and the man you just accused of trespassing is a retired federal investigator, an registered landowner in this district." Karen blinked, her mouth open, but no sound came out. I stayed quiet. I wanted to see how far she was going to dig her own hole, but he doesn't look like... "Like what?" I cut in. Karen froze. Marcus stepped forward, calm and easy. "You said I looked dangerous." "'Cause I was standing in a yard with my friend drinking coffee?" He tossed the granola bar wrapper into the trash bin beside the cabin steps. "That's profiling, ma'am. And also a false police report." The deputy nodded. "Which is a crime." Karen's face drained of color. "No, wait, I didn't. No, you have to understand. I was just trying to protect the neighborhood from the actual homeowner." She looked at me then, eyes scanning my face like she'd never seen me before. "You're not listed in the HOA registry?" she mumbled. "That's because I'm not in your HOA," I said. "Never signed a document. This property was grandfathered out 15 years ago, but you wouldn't know that, because you never checked the original deeds. You just printed up your fake compliance letters and started handing them out like candy." Karen's hand shook as she lowered her phone. I have authority here." "Oh, Karen," the deputy said firmly. "You don't." Another sheriff cruiser pulled up. This one was quieter. A man in a plain coat stepped out, clipboard in hand. He nodded at me and Marcus. "Evening, gentlemen." "I got the call," he said. Then he turned to Karen. "Ma'am, I'm from the county office. We've had a few complaints come in this week about HOA impersonation." Karen's mouth hung open. "You're not the first one we've had to deal with," he continued. "You might be the first one who called 911 on a federal officer." and a man who used to supervise your entire district's fraud investigations. That's when Karen realized she wasn't just wrong. She was in deep. Karen took a step back like her legs might give out. Her voice dropped to a whisper. I didn't mean for it to go this far. The county official didn't flinch. He handed out forged compliance threats, called emergency services. With a fabricated weapons claim, it's not just too far. That's criminal. She shook her head fast, like she could rewind time just by denying it. No, I was told these cabins were under HOA review. I was told by who? I asked. That made her pause, because she had no answer. Marcus folded his arms. Let me guess. You printed those notices yourself, used a fake seal, tried to scare people off land you can't touch. Karen didn't speak. You were betting. No one would check the law, I said, betting we'd just back down. But here's the problem with that. I pulled my phone from my pocket and tapped a few times before handing it to the deputy. This is the footage. Security cameras on the porch and the trees, audio too. You'll hear her threaten us before she called. The deputy took it, gave me a nod, then passed it to the county officer. Karen's hands were clenched so tight, her knuckles went white. People lie about their authority every day, Marcus said calmly. But when they lie to law enforcement and make it look like there's a threat when there isn't, that's when people start getting booked. Just then, Karen's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, her face twitching. She didn't answer. The county official noticed. Is that the person who told you these cabins were under review? You might want to start talking, ma'am. If you're being used by someone else, now's the time to say it.
Oh.
Karen looked between us. Then, slowly, she lowered the phone into her pocket without a word. I saw it. Then something shifted in her expression. This wasn't just blind arrogance. She was covering for someone. The county guy jotted something on his clipboard. Right. We'll dig into the source. But for now, ... He turned to the deputy. Go ahead and read her the charges. Deputy didn't hesitate. Ma'am, you are being detained for filing a false police report, impersonating an HOA official, and distributing forged legal notices. Karen gasped like the words had knocked the air out of her. No, wait, this isn't how it's supposed to go? I tilted my head. Really? How was it supposed to go? She didn't answer. She just stared at me like I was the one who betrayed her. That's when Marcus's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen, his jaw tightening. You might want to see this, he said, handing it to me. It was a photo, blurry, taken from a distance, but clear enough. A man standing at the edge of my property line. Watching us, and I recognized him. He wasn't with Karen. He was worse. The image on Marcus's phone made my stomach turn. I hadn't seen that face in over a year, but I'd never forget it. That's Jeremy Knox, said quietly. Marcus didn't look surprised. Didn't he get fired from the zoning office? For tampering with land records? Yep, I said, and tried to sue the county when they caught him forging inspection reports. He disappeared after the settlement. Out. And now he's standing on your tree line. Karen was still arguing with the deputies behind us, her voice rising again. But I wasn't listening anymore. I had bigger problems. Marcus stared out toward the woods, eyes scanning the shadows. You think she was working for him? I shook. My head? I think she's just the face. The noise. He's the one pulling strings. What? And just like that, everything clicked. The sudden HOA notices. The fake rules. The pressure on neighbors to sell their land. Karen had been loud to loud. She wanted everyone looking at her while someone else worked in silence. Knox. He'd always been quiet. Smart, dangerous in the way. Bureaucrats are when no one's watching. I looked back at Karen. She was panicking. Now, crying, shouting about how she was just following orders. That line, that told me everything. I turned to the county official. You're going to want to trace every complaint she filed. See who sent them. Dig deep. He nodded. We will. But you already have something in mind, don't you? I glanced. At Marcus. Yeah. I've got hard copies of my land registry in the lockbox inside. Deeds, tax records, original boundaries. If Knox is planning what I think he is, he's trying to reclaim land the county already signed off on. Fraud on a county level, Marcus muttered. Ambitious. Not if he uses people like Karen, I said. She distracts. He rewrites the map behind closed doors. The county guy looked serious now. That's true. We've got a much bigger problem. I pointed toward the woods. Then start by finding out why Jeremy Knox is standing 50 feet from my porch at sunset. After disappearing for a year, the official turned and spoke quietly into his radio. Seconds later, one of the deputies started moving along the trail. Karen was being guided toward a cruiser now, head down, still protesting. But it didn't matter anymore. The game had moved past her, and I had a feeling the next move wasn't going to come through the front gate.